Hi, my name is Sam Korsmo, and thank you for clicking on this link of the Leveraging VARS newsletter. This is our book, Vietnam, Asia's Rising Star. It's available in English and Vietnamese, and today we'll have a very short lecture clip of a talk that we give in many different venues about the role of women. So a bit on the book. Basically, the book is based on a hypothesis, and that is Vietnam is a tiger economy and it'll grow and develop like Taiwan and South Korea did when they were tiger economies. And one of the ways that we did this research was we looked at the drivers, the reasons that Taiwan and South Korea succeeded. I'm not going to go into these, but things like education, investment in high tech, work ethic, relationship with the US, geography, culture, and so on. See, these are some of the drivers, some of the reasons that Taiwan and South Korea succeeded. Then, of course, we looked at what about Vietnam? What are some of the drivers that Vietnam has on its own that lend to its success so far and hopefully will lend to success over the next 20 years? Here, again, we have 8 of them. Global manufacturing, the whole China Plus One thing, mass mobilization, demographics and urbanization, role of women, which is the topic of this short lecture, natural resources and agricultural wealth, the Vietnamese diaspora, the VQ communities around the world, digitalization of the internet, and then a leverage point, the new Cold War between China and the US. Where does Vietnam stand? And of course today we're looking at the role of women. So these are 8 drivers that are going to lend to Vietnam's success, but of course they have some of the same drivers as Taiwan and South Korea. These ones here, education, grit, commitment to global trade, geography, culture, wealth disparity, political stability. So if you add all this up, that's 15 drivers that Vietnam can use to keep growing. And that's kind of the focus of our book here. So to the topic at hand, the role of women. This is one of those things that kind of surprised me in the research process, because we spent 3 years researching this for this book. And there's so many articles, so many studies, so many multilateral research reports about the role of women. And some of them say these kinds of things. And there's a common theme in all of them. That is the word if. An additional $40 billion could be added to Vietnam's GDP by 2025 if women's equality were improved. And that is a very common phrase. This particular one is from the McKinsey people, but they all have that similar idea about if women played a bigger role in the economy, this would happen. And in this case here, they have the word $40 billion by 2025. So this publishing came out in 2018. In 2018, the total GDP of Vietnam was around 310 billion. Today, it's around 475 billion. So did that 40 billion show up? I don't know. Chances are it did not. So there's still $40 billion on the table if women's equality, gender equality is more advanced than it is now. But Vietnam, of course, has an edge on this. Women do have a huge role in the economy, much more than other countries. So you can see here, Vietnam leads the pack in terms of ratio of female to male labor, nearly 88% compared to the rest of the world. And this is significant because this lends to a team approach in its development. So we kind of learned this over the time, and I want to share something with you about our cover design. So when we asked our designers to build covers, design covers for our book, this is one of the models that kind of rose to the top. A very traditional statue type thing, of which there's a lot of them in Vietnam. But you see this here. You have the man up front wearing a construction hat, a woman who's kind of in the background wearing the traditional nón lá, and 2 kids. And so in the editing process, we said, okay, let's make this a little bit different. And here's the design that actually won out, that actually became the design of the book that we see right here. And you can see the woman is up front, the man is in the background, the kids are the same. We've added a dog, a nice family with a dog. But you could see that the woman is holding the star and the man is holding the woman's arm. That's a statement, that's an epiphany, if you will, of how we view that issue. And so that's just how our evolution of thinking, transpired over the 3 or so years of research for this. It came out in the design, which I quite like that particular cover. So this last part here is completely subjective. It's on my thinking only. And it talks about the role of women around the world, from limited, restricted roles to unlimited or few restrictions roles. And I'm placing countries along this line. And on the limited, restricted would be a country like Afghanistan that does not allow its girls to go to school. And on the other end, a country like Israel, in which women have to serve in the military. It's compulsory for all Israeli citizens, and including women, and including in combat roles. So if those are the edges of the whole scenario, where is the world? Where are you? Wherever country you're from? Where is Vietnam? So you have Indonesia, a lot of online entrepreneurs, and they have various laws that restrict, in this case, family law. Finland, over on this side, a woman prime minister, very generous maternity leave. Back over on this side, India, homeless entrepreneurs, the dowry culture. What homeless entrepreneurs means is that in some cities it's difficult for single women to rent apartments because of the traditional roles that Indian society has. And then the dowry culture is something that they've been trying to deal with for a long time. Back over here, Taiwan had a woman president, equal rights by law. Back over here again, Mexico has a woman's president, but has a very traditional view of the roles of women and men in the household. China, a lot of women entrepreneurs, there is a gender imbalance in the preference for boys rather than girls. That used to be the case. South Korea has had women prime ministers in the past, very low birth rate, currently. And so I put this here just to show the differences of countries. And here's the real question. The USA. No woman president, and gender rights, reproductive rights are being infringed in a lot of different ways. So where is America on this limited to unlimited, restrictions to few restrictions status? More importantly, where do you want your daughters to be? And so that's how I'm going to close this little talk, is that question: where do you think your daughters should be in this whole lineup? Thanks for listening, and thank you again for signing up for the Leveraging VARS newsletter. Have a great day.